and there has been a trend hitting school districts all over New Jersey, chronic budget squeezes, driven in part by years of shrinking state aid. The question is, why is there that shrinking state aid when we pay more in taxes than almost every other state in the country? In Jefferson Township, school leaders describe the impact as debilitating. Since the 2018 changes to the state's school funding formula, often referred to as S2, the district has lost nearly $45 million in cumulative aid. Now, heading into the upcoming school year, officials are staring down a projected shortfall of about $4 million to $5 million. And that gap is forcing some very difficult choices for students, families, and the community. Jeanne Howe is the Jefferson Township School Superintendent. We say good morning to you, Superintendent Howe.
Good morning.
Well, I don't know where the state expects you to pull money out from when you don't have taxing authority. They have the taxing authority. So they just cut. It's not like they're cutting $1 million. That's a shave. When you're cutting $45 million, where are you supposed to find that kind of money?
Well, up until this point, we have implemented a lot of cost-saving measures. We have closed 2 schools. We've reduced our staff by over 100. We have implemented pay-to-participate fees. So we've done a number of things to try to make the budget work. But next school year, we are really at the point with $4.8 million projected shortfall. It is just going to be impossible to be able to manage those catastrophic cuts.
I know for a lot of people may not realize that several years back, again, 2018 or so, there was a change in the way the taxing and funding occurred in the state. And then there was also something called the Highlands Act, which was a way that the not just environmentalists, but sort of environmental extremists in the state basically took over much of the state to ostensibly to protect the water supply. But in doing so, it created hundreds of millions of dollars of debt, unnecessarily so, if you ask many, because, by the way, almost every water district in the state has water you can't drink. And that came after their takeover. So you have to scratch your head and say, where's all this money going? In the meantime, we're paying more in taxes every year. And I know I'm not trying to drag you into the politics of it, but you still have the responsibility of taking care of thousands of students. And you have to do so each year with less and less money. It's just antithetical that we're paying more in taxes every year, and then you have less and less money to work with.
Correct. And you mentioned the Highlands Act. About 88% of Jefferson Township is restricted for development because of the Highlands Act. That has an impact on the township's ability to develop new communities, add additional housing. Also, it limits the township's ability to have additional businesses, which impact ratables. So the tax base is spread among a smaller group of taxpayers, increasing the tax rate. But the impact that it has on our schools is that without the development of additional communities, there really isn't a way for our enrollment to grow. It keeps decreasing. And that's part of the reason we're in this situation. Jefferson Township is a wonderful community in which to live. There's a lot of great things going on in the township. So people are aging in place. They don't want to leave. So there really is a shortage of housing in Jefferson.
Yeah. And Jefferson, it is a beautiful community. It's a place that you would want to move to if you could afford a nice house to bring your kids, because of great schools and because it's a great place to raise and keep a family. And what's sad is in the state of New Jersey, what you have is a lot of poverty around the bigger cities, the urban centers, the Newark, the Camden, the Patterson. And what happens is a lot of the money gets funneled right into those districts. They get the money not from those districts because those districts don't pay taxes. They really don't have that much money coming in, with the exception of business, because a lot of people don't earn the money to pay the taxes. So they go to districts like Jefferson Township, and the taxes being paid by homeowners there, take it and give tons of money to Newark. But it's almost like a bottomless pit. You don't necessarily see the return on investment. Newark, Patterson, Camden, this has been going on for decades, where the money gets sucked out of the rural districts and the suburban districts, going into the urban districts. And then you guys are left having to cancel sports programs, And the money there, it's not like you see a rise in test scores in the big cities.
Well, we really need help for next year. Again, our deficit is expected to be about $4.8 million short. That's our best guesstimate right now. And in order to make the budget balance, we would need to cut things such as athletics at all levels, co-curricular activities, basic skills, gifted and talented programs. There's just so much that is on the table right now in terms of what we would need to cut to make the budget work. And we're really hoping for some kind of relief between now and the time that our budgets are due. So we won't have to make these drastic cuts.
And again, I'm not dragging you into this. I'm making a statement now. And I know as a great superintendent, you are, by the way, you come with great praise from people who live in your district, who
Thank you.
even work for our staff. And that's the truth. But I will say this, and this is my own little commentary on the side. When you have a state, and I'm not against immigration or immigrants. My family were immigrants. But when you have a state that has 900,000 to a million migrants who are undocumented who come into the state, and by law we have to educate the kids, and that's fine, and we should. I get it. The problem is now you have maybe 200, 300, 400,000 potential additional students in school districts up and down the state. And there has to be funding because you need bilingual teachers. And by the way, it's not any one language. We're talking about all over the world. We have Asian, Hispanic, Europeans who come here, who've been here illegally. Okay. So the point is, this costs money. And the problem is, you end up taking from the suburban districts where you don't have this issue and giving to the urban districts. I don't mean you, I mean the state. Giving to the urban districts where this is existing. And while it sounds like a wonderful thing, and it is in the heart a wonderful thing to welcome immigrants, legal or not, the problem is this costs hundreds of millions of dollars, and this is one of the problems we have. So this is something that's got to be addressed in Trenton, and if it isn't, it's only going to get worse. Any outlook now that we have a new governor in place for a change in the future, or is it just going to be status quo?
I am very hopeful that Governor Sherrill is going to take a look at the funding formula. It is very flawed. The funding formula is supposed to run based on enrollment and the number of students in your district, but there are other factors that just don't work, such as the wealth and income factor that goes a little bit on property values. And unfortunately, you don't see your increase in your property value until you sell your home. You're no longer living in the community. It would be great if we were able to have additional funding for mandates that we are required by the Department of Education and the legislators to implement. We have a lot of unfunded mandates in the school system, so that would be something that would be helpful. But all of those right now, taking a look at the funding formula and making adjustments where needed, is going to take time. And Jefferson Township Public Schools are out of time. We don't have the time to wait. We need immediate assistance, and
Yeah.
we need it for next school year. Otherwise, we have very limited choices, none of which are good. They're just
Superintendent,
they're
we
harmful
have to
to
go
you.
only because we have a hard commercial break, but that's Jefferson Township Superintendent Jeanne Howe. We're with you, and a lot of districts are
Thank
suffering
you.
too. Thanks for joining us. We're coming
Thank you
right
for
back.
having me on your show.